Alpkit wood gas stove. I saw some bits online about this and people have given it rave reviews, but I wanted to try it out myself to see what my thoughts were on it. The kit basically comes in two sides. They've got holes on the inside and holes for ventilation on the outside, and the idea is that air goes through there, comes out there and gives you a nice wood gas effect. It's got two side panels, your bottom grate. You can see probably that's slightly warped because I've used this clearly, and you get a couple of pins to go on the top. So what I did, I took this out and I went to use it. I took a load of sticks off the beach. I did a big introduction to everything as I was going along. And then I got to where I was going, away from humans as much as possible, because it was very busy down on the beach. I thought it was going to be quite quiet, especially in November, but obviously I was wrong. And just to let you know, once you've got the sides set up, you can see there's two little shelf lines there, and the base just slots in. I was expecting big things from this, and I was a bit disappointed, to be honest. Granted, the wood that I got off the beach was a bit damp, a bit wet. But once I got it going, I expected it to be going better, as it were. I expected the flames to be much better. I didn't expect it to go out. I had a complete nightmare with this. Honestly, I couldn't keep the heat in it. I couldn't get those flames to continue. I just ended up with a smouldering mess. From my limited experience of using this, I think there's a couple of design flaws. I'll tell you about them and then you let me know what you think in the comments. The first one is, if you can imagine that you've got this full up burning wood. You got heat, you got smoke, you got flame. If you go to move it, then there's your answer. It just falls apart. So that's something to bear in mind. It comes apart quite easily. It's okay if you lift it up from the end, but if you knock it in any way, the side just pops off and the bottom falls out, which is not a good day out. So the thing to be wary of is to put it in position and not touch it once it's lit. The other thing which I find quite odd are these two cross pieces here. Now, when I was out on the beach, I couldn't use these properly because I didn't get a proper fire going. But I had a thought about this. Get down. Get down. Get down. You go down with a bit of weight on it. I've got this solo stove and it's a proper wood gasifying stove. And if you notice from the top, here to the top of the stove, they get you this nice big area. Now part of that reason is so you can keep feeding sticks in, and the other reason is that you can get a nice pot on top and it keeps it away from the flames and it allows a lot of air in there. Moving back to the Alpkit, you just get these two bars. So if you was to put a pot on here on one side, does that mean that it gives you sufficient to feed small sticks in there? But however, there's a little teeny tiny gap there. So would that snuff out the flames? The other thing I was wondering with this was, would it work with an alcohol stove? Because my thought process is that it would be well shielded from any external windy elements inside there. So for any of you thinking about alcohol stoves and using something like this as a dual purpose item, your Trangia doesn't fit. It's just too wide. Avenue or an Avenue type clone, that won't fit either. The only reason I mention that is because I'm sure I can't be the only person who's thought of that. However, if you've got something like this is a speedster stove. This is 60 millimeters across. That's about just under 2.5 inches. That'll go in there beautifully, but you've got too much height, so it won't work effectively. So you need to prop it up on something. And the Toke's titanium, that fits in there as well. Is the height too great? I don't know, but it's something I'm going to test out. So to use something like this, you need to prop it up to bring the height higher. That should then allow just enough height there to not smother any alcohol flames and let sufficient oxygen in. So I certainly am going to try this with an alcohol stove at some point in the near future. Moving back to this in wood stove mode, I was really cross that I couldn't get it to burn and get sufficient heat in there for the flames to keep going, because the idea of something like this is you can go along, you can pick up odd bits of wood. Yes, they're going to be a little bit damp. Yes, you probably need to prepare more than what I did. However, it still needs to function. It still needs to pump loads of air through there and keep that flame going. So what I did, I got back to mine and I filled this full of wood pellets and I set fire to it just to see how it would perform with super dry, efficient wood pellets. And I'm pleased to say, just using it as a little campfire, it worked beautifully. There's lots of heat there, there was no smoke, but you don't get any smoke really off of pellets anyway. So I was pleased with that aspect of it. However, to take this out in the real world and give it a proper test again, would the results be the same? So to briefly sum up my experiences so far, I really wanted to like this wood gas stove. It ticks the boxes in terms of price. I bought this in the Black Friday sale. I think it was just over 20 quid. So cost wise, you can't go wrong. You get a nice bag to keep it in. I don't like the aspect of if you move it around, it's gonna fall apart very easily. That could potentially be quite dangerous. I like the fact that potentially this could be a dual purpose item to use it with alcohol. However, in my limited experience so far, I'm a bit 50-50. When I've looked online, you see one or two videos of this. People are using perfectly dry wood in an optimum situation with no wind. So I'm a little bit skeptical as to how good or bad this actually is, and it definitely needs a little bit more testing. Please let me know if you've got one of these, your experiences with it. Would you use this over and above any other wood stove you have? I'm a little bit undecided. So any ideas you've got, put them in the comments and we'll all learn together. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time. Invo Shed out.